Begin tonight with the state of the subway. This week, schools reopened, city workers returned to the office, and the curtains went up on Broadway. The MTA is now trying to woo riders back to mass transit.
But an increase in homeless people at key hubs and train delays caused by staffing shortages is making it difficult. CBS 2 political reporter Marsha Kramer has the story.
It's the juxtaposition of pictures that grabs you. MTA boss Jan Oliver with the stars of The Lion King at the Times Square subway station to urge New Yorkers to come back to mass transit.
We're doing everything possible to make the system the most attractive transportation option out there.
But just minutes later, literally minutes, this couple pushing carts of belongings came out of the same subway station. No surprise, really, since a new MTA report found that the influx of homeless spiked 45% over the summer at 8 of the city's busiest commuter hubs, including Times Square. For example, CBS 2 cameras found an influx of homeless at Penn Station, one of the hubs. They were sleeping in stairwells and on the floor, carting their belongings, even one man sleeping on top of a trash bin outside the station.
Now, there's nothing wrong with this guy. And I'm going to tell you why. A lot of you guys are going to say, but he has mental health issues. And he might be diagnosed with that, or people online, now the thing is, anytime a Sun Man does something, he has mental health. Everybody jump up and throw mental health out there. Let me tell you why there's nothing wrong with this guy. Now, we know I've done hundreds of videos on how these people scream at people down here, yell at people, yell hateful things into the air, sock people from behind, women, men, older men, glacier gliders mostly, hombritos, and, also, the other group. And I ain't thought of a nickname for them yet, but it's well publicized, what they do to them. But however, I'm going to tell you why this guy's not crazy. And I'm going to tell you why guys like this are a huge problem in the community. First off, he would never see a teen with his pants sagging, bopping down the street, and run up on him and start screaming at him. He would never do that. So as crazy as he is, and I'm sure he's passed off as crazy, that's how he gets to lay there and be down here all day screaming at people, aggressively panhandling, because that's another thing they do. They aggressively panhandle. They basically, for all intents and purposes, bully people out of money. He would never see a Sun Man or, walking down the street, a young Sun Man, hip-hop gear, and walk up behind him and swing on him from behind. He would never do that. They only do that to glacier gliders, senior citizens, handicapped people, and hombritos, and not the Ricans and Dominicans. I'm talking about like the working class ones, the ones that, nah, they don't do that with them. No, they don't play with them. The ones from the Bronx, no, they don't do that. But these crazy people down here that are terrorizing this area, and I could do 100 videos a day on this, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, but I only do every once in a while because it's just so much. This is like porch piracy. It's that widespread, them socking people in the face and knocking people out. I mean, and not even like stalking them, just they see a person and boom, and they keep on walking. They're not crazy. This guy's not crazy. A group of teens walked down past him and could make fun of him and stand around him, 2 or 3 of them, and just clown him for hours. Slap him upside his head, kick him, he'd walk off. He'd go to another corner. He'd flag down a police officer. But any one of these people you see in this screen, he'd chase him down and make him give him some money, scream at him, may sock this woman in her head and just keep walking. So these people are not crazy. They're opportunistic crazy, selectively crazy. And I've seen this a lot in my life. You know, I'm from a town where it's a lot of this. We have a expansive subway system, one of the best in North America. So I've seen this all my life. These guys are not crazy. They're only crazy when it's somebody who they know is not going to poke them or shoot them.
CBS 2 cameras found an influx of homeless at Penn Station, one of the hubs. They were sleeping in stairwells and on the floor, carting their belongings, even one man sleeping on top of a trash bin outside the station.
Unsurprisingly, they're in the same area, the heavy volume stations where New Yorkers are growing in numbers.
Ironically, the increase in homelessness comes as the MTA is reporting record ridership, the largest number of people on the subway since the start of the pandemic in March 2020. A report released yesterday by Governor Hochul found that 2.77 million people rode the subways yesterday. To be sure, it was a record high, but only half, 50% of the 5.5 million who took the subway before COVID.
This was just such a shock to diners. Folks started their night last night out here just trying to enjoy dinner. Instead, they ended up ducking for cover. Take a look behind me before we talk about that surveillance video. As you can see, tables are out, chairs are out.
Gliders are out. Okay? This is the part of Manhattan where our buddy Colin Kaepernick lives. Tribeca, Soho. The Village. This is the part of New York with ritzy restaurants. This is when they talk about New York. This is what they talking about. Okay, like you remember that show S in the City? Different shows like that. When they're in New York, this is what they're talking about. And now, well, I ain't even gonna say now, the last year and some change, going on 2 years, they've been getting a big whopping taste of what the rest of New York, the part of New York that only make the gangster movies, they've been getting a big taste of what the rest of New York gets on a hourly, daily basis.
Take a look behind me before we talk about that surveillance video. As you can see, tables are out, chairs are out. Philippe is back open for business. And diners we spoke will say, yeah, they might be open for business, but they will now think twice before dining outside. Chaos at Philippe, a trendy Upper East Side restaurant turned crime scene Wednesday night when two men toting guns robbed outdoor diners. Take a look at this surveillance video obtained by Pix 11. You see two men jump out of an SUV with guns. Seconds later, diners are running for their lives.
Now, I didn't do a video on this situation in Houston where the off-duty cop was dining and the two thugs, similar situation came up to where they were outdoor dining and smoked him and his buddy and left with nothing. I think the cop might have, maybe reached or something. I don't know what happened, but killed that cop and his buddy and left with nothing. But they were trying to rob the outdoor dining area. And this is a new thing, man. You're seeing this a lot. You're seeing this a lot. Where they're just running up on these outdoor dining areas that were installed and initiated because of the pandemic. So they felt like if you're outside You can't catch it, which is the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. But if you're outside, you don't have to worry about anything. It's only inside we have to worry about something. But now, the thug element has seen that, these people are just sitting there. We can roll up, boom, 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 in and out, in the wind. If we get caught, we'll be out the next day, have a trial in 2023. Trial date in 2023. Or if you're in certain cities, like Baltimore, with Marilyn Mosby, or Chicago with Kim Fox, or Philadelphia with Larry Krasner, they might just throw that out. They might just throw the whole case out. And word on the street is guys know now that a lot of these cases are getting thrown out. So they know that, first of all, it's like a 10% chance that they'll get caught. Especially something like this. No motive, just random. Maxed up. In and out. So it's like a 10% chance they'll get caught for this. And then if they do get caught, then it's maybe like a 20% chance that whatever trial date they get, that by the time that date comes up in a few years, because the courts are closed because of the pandemic, whenever that trial date comes up, that thing will be thrown out. And on top of that, they won't be sitting in jail the whole time like they used to. They'll be out the next day because no bail. They didn't kill anybody.
Take a look at this surveillance video obtained by Pix 11. You see two men jump out of an SUV with guns. Seconds later, diners are running for their lives.
Both brandish firearms. They remove a Rolex watch from one of the victims.
Police say after one gunman stole the Rolex watch, the other went after 28-year-old Melshire Cook, who was sitting at another table. Cook tried to wrestle the gun from the second gunman, but the gun went off, and Cook was hit in his leg. He was apparently on a first date.
These dudes be ruining dates. These the cock blocking this dude. These brothers be cock blocking, man. Hit one of you saw the video I did the other day with the girl was on her first date with this guy and they got carjacked. These brothers, they're just a pestilence. Like the other day, I was riding, not in the country, but just outside of the city where I'm at, up here in PA. And I saw a dead skunk on the road. And I don't see that. I'm from the city, like the big city. DC, I don't see that stuff, So I saw a dead skunk on the road. And then I smelled it. And I was like, oh my God, it smelled just like the scratch and sniff, but worse, but more pungent. And it smelled for a while. Like we were driving down the road, like way past that dead skunk, and you could still smell it. And that's kind of like what some, they just put it all, the circumference of where they're at is just, they just foul it up, the whole area.
Say after one gunman stole the Rolex watch, the other went after 28-year-old Melshire Cook, who was sitting at another table. Cook tried to wrestle the gun from the second gunman, but the gun went off, and Cook was hit in his leg. He was apparently on a first date. His mother tells us she's not surprised her son took action.
I have 9 kids. I would expect that from him. He's not going to let nobody run up on him and try to rob him.
Cell phone video taken by a waiter at the restaurant next door shows the aftermath. Tables and chairs flipped over. Cook is on the ground. You see him surrounded by emergency crews. This is the outcome of another easy target for criminals: outdoor dining.
And it's usually pretty crowded. So to have that happen amongst all the other people is a little scary to me.
Douglas Weller is always in the area eating out for lunch and dinner. After hearing what happened here, he says sitting outside is not worth the risk.
I know I don't feel very comfortable, mainly because of the traffic. But now I have something else to be concerned with.
So he has to equate the traffic with the sun violence, just so he doesn't, come off as, racist. Because you have to understand, in these liberally run cities, any critique, anything, unless you say he was mentally ill, anything other than that, a critique about a son man or son behavior, you're racist. So these liberals up there, their tongues are tied. And they tied their own tongues. But they also get something out of it, because they get to be, I'm not like those Trump supporters. We're not like those Proud Boys. We're inclusive and so they get some kind of sick, twisted, like one-upsmanship on who they perceive as the real problem in America, the supremacists. But they're pandering and just being uber racist to black people by just insinuating that this is normal behavior. This is what they do, but maybe it's this or that, or we need more of this, or more programs, or maybe more funding, or maybe they need something to do, but I don't know. It's just he can't even say it's sad. He just like they just talk until they get like until they find a way to wiggle their way out of it, out of the interview.
And it's usually pretty crowded, so to have that happen amongst all the other people is a little scary to me.
Douglas Weller is always in the area eating out for lunch and dinner. After hearing what happened here, he says sitting outside is not worth the risk.
I know I don't feel very comfortable, mainly because of the traffic. But now I have something else to be concerned with.
The concern now is whether or not this is part of a pattern. Police are looking into it. One of the gunmen left his weapon behind before taking off in this dark-colored SUV.
Who thinks that SUV was carjacked or stolen? Hit one.
One of the gunmen left his weapon behind before taking off in this dark-colored SUV.
A black 9mm handgun with a shell casing lodged in the slide was recovered. Thankfully, it was unable to be fired after that first round, or else other innocent people could have been injured.
Well, Democratic mayoral candidate Eric Adams just arrived here for dinner, just to renew that it is safe to eat outside.